People always find ways to say that it's not possible. Just keep moving, keep your eye on the ball. Cold calling is still relevant, but I still believe in that. Trust is the basics of everything.
Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of The Sound of Sales. Maarten is a guy who started in the trenches and has a passion and drive that brought him to where he is today. This episode is a deep dive into his learnings along the way. Enjoy the episode. Welcome Maarten.
Yeah, Bram, thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I've heard a lot about you from different people and a lot of people said Maarten has a super interesting story. You should invite him to the show.
Okay. So, I'm always curious who is talking about me, but that's okay. I think as long as it's positive things, then it's okay, I think.
Well, one of the quotes there is, people are talking about you in rooms you haven't entered yet. To start with a deep one.
Yeah, I think a lot of things have happened the last since Corona. Actually, since COVID, a lot of things have changed for sure in the podcasting space. I guess a lot of people know me from the podcasting story, and yeah, like a lot of people, you know, I'm somebody who gets a lot of energy from meeting new people, from talking to people, to going to events, to networking. And suddenly you have Corona and they lock you up. And for me, that was really locking myself up because I was really in a small corner in our bedroom with a small desk. I think it was less than 1 square meter that I had for myself. Because all the other rooms in the apartment, they were filled with children or with my wife who was helping the kids. So it was, And at a certain point, you can't go to events, you can't meet new people. So I really wanted to have something to meet new people. And I also wanted to tell a story about, I'm working a lot with CIOs. And they did amazing things during Corona. And I really wanted to help tell them that story. So I thought, let's start a podcast. Let's try it. It was out of my comfort zone, to be honest. But it was so much fun. And after some episodes, I really wanted to do more and more. And at a certain point, I also started the Belgian Podcast Awards. And but...
Got out of hand a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, let's talk about you first. If I would ask your wife what you do for a living, what would she say?
She is always laughing when people ask that question to me directly, because I really do a lot of things. And she would always say that I'm doing too many things at the same time. But that's my drive, actually. So I think today she would say that I'm doing stuff with IT, with cloud, and I'm doing stuff with podcasting. So I think those are the two most important things at the moment.
Yeah, when I read about you or when I Google you, people sometimes call you the pioneer of podcasting. Why do you think that is? Because from what I hear about you, you only started in COVID. Is that beginning of COVID or recently?
I started, I think, in September. So after 6 months in COVID. Yeah. That's like, in human years, that's like 200 years ago. The beginning of COVID. But to be honest, I think... saying that I'm the pioneer in Belgium, I think there are a lot of more people who did really amazing things with podcasting. I think the honor more fits those people than myself. What I try to do is really build a community around the Belgian Podcast Awards for podcasters, to bringing different people together. I think that was my main objective. So I'm really trying to do something for all the podcasters out there in Belgium. but I'm not sure if I'm really the pioneer about that. I think I'm the pioneer maybe in trying to build something like that.
Yeah, trying to do something more.
Yeah, and bringing everybody together and bringing out some motivation also, because you really have a lot of great creators out there with a great story, with a great ambition, and they give up much too soon. And I'm also trying to motivate these people.
Yeah. Yeah, because having started myself a few months ago, it's not always a walk in the park to keep creating and make sure that it's for your audience as well at the end of the day.
It's true.
But it's a nice thing to do. I'm very creative, and I like the creative side of the podcasting.
At which episode are you now? Which episode is this?
12.
12. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So that's already about 10 episodes, and you can already see a difference, I think, between the first one and the 12th one. How is that for you?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. It's what I noticed is that in the beginning you try to overdo yourself with preparing, and then you go in a mode where you think like, well, actually, I'm just wanting to have a conversation with someone, so why should I prepare too much? Then you prepare nothing at all, and then then you notice maybe I should prepare a little bit. So that is something that I've already noticed.
Oh, yeah, that's my first episode. It was really, it's terrible. I had a paper in front of me, and I really wanted to read it the whole time. So, yeah. And indeed, you need to find a good mix. You always need to read up on the guests, of course. I always make a little outline in my head and some questions, maybe 2-3 questions that I really want to ask and share with my community. But yeah, it needs to be a natural discussion.
Yeah, indeed. That's the core thing, I think, for a good podcast, that it feels natural.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the nicest for the guest. But what one of the people said that I was talking to, I will read the exact sentence that I've written down from Peter Snauwaard, who told me to connect with you. He said, Maarten, he had kids at the age of 22 to 23, had to work in a CocaCola factory to make a living and pay for uni, and is now a big shot.
Okay, thank you, Peter, for over-exaggerating, but I think actually I was 21.
21 even?
Yeah, I was 21. Yeah, so, you know the story. You meet a girl at university. Yeah, and then nine months later, that story. So yeah, then you need to go work, find work. It was really crazy because indeed I went to go and find a job, but I still wanted to study also, raise the kids, and it was really a rush. The years after that, until I was suddenly you have time and you're 30. But yeah, I think it took me 4 years to get my first bachelor degree. And at the same time, I was also always working really hard. I started my career at CocaCola in the factory, working on machines. I learned myself to be a line engineer, a technical engineer, without having any knowledge about technology. I designed a special transport system, actually, that connects with... it's really difficult to find all the English words. To connect with all the logic apps, with the technology, with the sensors, to automate. So... And after a few years, the people of Coca-Cola Europe picked me up because they saw that I was doing a lot of amazing things. And at the same time, I was also studying, raising two kids, building a house. Um, I started also a political party, not special, it was a local thing. So not right or left, I'm neutral. Um, but yeah, then I started working for the European part of Coca-Cola. We did a lot of great projects on sales and business, also on quality management, logistics, supply chain. But after a few years, I saw that I was really not making progress anymore. I was really stuck in Coca-Cola. And the reason was also that I didn't have a master's degree. So, because if you wanted to go to a next level, you needed a master's degree. So, that's the moment that I really started to change a lot of things for myself. And I met a guy on a fair, Stiffer Big, and he wrote a book, People as Brands, Mensen als Merken. And I read that book and it really completely changed my life, to be honest. It's, by the way, the first time that I share this in a podcast. Um, but he's really an amazing guy. He's really a branding expert. I also have some books behind me from him. And I implemented a lot of these things in my life. I also got an MBA. And after that, I left Coca-Cola. Also, all because of one little book. I left after 10 years Coca-Cola, and I joined another company in the IT industry as sales manager. Yeah, and from that moment on, it went all really quickly, to be honest. But the book really helped me to set goals, and I think it's really important in your career to have goals. And if you want to have a goal, you also need to dress and behave like you already have that goal, if you understand what I mean.
But what a journey, actually. So from your age of 21, hard work, and it's a trajectory from biotech to IT.
Yeah.
How old are your kids right now then?
Well, my daughter is 21. My son is 19, becoming 19 in a month. And yeah, we are a mixed family. So the modern way of having families.
Yeah.
So I also have a plus daughter of 9. And we also have a new kid, which is now almost 3 months.
What a nice mixture. It must be really cool actually to, well, maybe not at the time, but have children at a young age and then be a young father. Or because of all the work you weren't able to experience in that way, or did you?
I wouldn't do it in another way. I would
Is
exactly
that the
do it the same
diplomatic
way.
answer?
It really has a lot of benefits also, to be honest, but it makes things really difficult.
Mhm.
You know, if you are working the whole time, you don't have enough time often for the kids. And I really try to combine that. But in the beginning, if you're studying and working and renovating a house, yeah, that's really hard. That's really hard, and it's almost impossible to give the right attention. That's also why today I'm 41. I really, with my wife, we really decided to have a kid. It was the first kid of our as a couple, but it was really also the first time that we really could focus also on giving enough attention. And I'm still doing a lot of things at the same time, but it's the
It's different. So
it's
not a
different.
more conscious decision of as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
But do you think it gave you a different type of drive while having children? Because yeah, it's not only for you that you're doing it, and you have
Yeah.
a lot to prove at that age as well.
To be honest, I think if I wouldn't have taken that path, I wouldn't have gotten so far. Because I always wanted to. I was always working really hard. I was also always studying new things. I'm still studying new things. But the extra drive came really from that point. Because the first apartment that we had was really something that we got from it was a sociaal appartement. So it was really down the ladder that you needed to start. And if you didn't fix things, you would stay there for the rest of your life. And that fear, to be honest, is still with me. If you stop doing the things that you're doing now, you will lose everything. That's really an honest and open reply, and that doesn't make things easy. And so it still keeps the engine warm, to be honest.
Yeah, indeed. Is that one of the things why you moved into sales? Because there's a lot of money to be made with good salespeople? Or do you think, well, maybe biotech could also give you a nice future? But how did you move into sales? Did it, from engineering, hacks, learned from YouTube?
I think I was always a sales guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was also really always born to do sales, to work with customers, with people. The industry, I think IT is more fitting for me. I really was always fascinated about computers from a really young age. My father, because he was working at university, they were one of the first also to have internet. And he always said to me that we were one of the first 100 people in Belgium that had cable internet. Cable. It was not really cable. It was an internet modem at home. So the first computer that we also had was a Tandy TRSX 80. So that was really, the program, the software was on tape recorders. That you could stick in a machine and press play, and then the software started to play. So that was really the first computer that we had at home. So when I was talking about computers at school, nobody knew what I was talking about, because these were the years that you could still do dactylo on a typewriting machine. It was those years, so it's the 80s, early 80s, 90s, beginning of the 90s. And then more and more people started to know about computers. But I did dactylo, by the way, right? So learning to type on a typewriter. My father still being the early adopter or geek or whatever that you want to call it. We had the first electric typewriter. So it was a machine. So you had the silent typewriters, the old ones. But you also had really the cool ones that you needed to plug into the power outlet. And it was so noisy. So I was the only one with an electric typewriter also there. People were always bothered about that, but okay.
It takes me back to I'm trying to, I see you and I'm trying to put you in that time again. The cool Antwerp kid with a electric typewriter.
Yeah, indeed, Bram. But it's amazing in such a short period. The evolution of technology is amazing. So today I'm also really focused on everything that has to do with new technology, cloud, artificial intelligence. Because today I'm working for Connection. And I'm a cloud solution advisor, and I'm advising a lot of big companies how to move on with technology, how to use the HoloLens, for example, the Metaverse, or new technologies and tools to make life better. So from the electric typewriter to this, I really love it.
How do you think the Metaverse will impact sales? Do you think it will go that way?
That's a good question. I haven't thought about that. So I will talk a little bit now to make some time to think.
Yeah. But we can turn this into a brainstorm how what it could be.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think it's still too early to say how it will all impact the world as such, and it's also depending on which route that you take, of course. Um, I think if you have the B2C metaverse, and that for me that's Facebook, it's more about shopping and events maybe. I think that's something completely different. I don't really have a clear opinion on that. But for example, if you look at what Microsoft is doing, um, yeah, that will definitely impact sales. It will impact the way that we sell. It will impact the way that we do business. It will impact the way that we learn. It will impact every part of our fabric, for sure in the B2B space. And again, I'm not sure what B2C in the B2C space it will be, but it will change sales and marketing. Absolutely.
What are the things Microsoft is doing to refresh everyone's memory?
So actually, what Microsoft is doing, they are also investing a lot in everything that has to do with. Yeah, I will go back for a second. Maybe a lot of people remember that Microsoft bought Minecraft, and then you saw maybe one of the clips that they were drawing things with the HoloLens in 3D and augmented reality. I think if you take that idea, they are now building complete digital factories into that system. Or for example, if you have a machine in your factory, you can really try to fit it into the factory hall. You can, for example, take the machine apart, but it's really with high definition, and they are recording these images with 8K, so that's more than most machines today can visualize, but they are already recording in 8K to be future ready. And why would you do that? I really can give an easy example. If you want to work in a factory, for example, and you start working there, it's your first day. Where does it often go wrong, or the challenges, is that people need to be educated. They don't know how to take a machine apart or find the right bolts and screws. And with the HoloLens, for example, you can do all the training and all the interaction via the HoloLens and virtualize that. You can also coach people in that way. So I think that is really a clear example, and Microsoft is really investing billions also in that. So I think that will also only grow. And the great thing, what I find about Microsoft today, because it's also a different company than 10 years ago, is they are also opening this technology for other companies to build upon and to develop on. So that's really also a cool thing, I think. But also something else, for example, I'm now looking to buy a new car. It's still in the old way of doing things. Today, they visualize the car on the screen. But yeah, have you ever chosen, if you want a fancy color, or if you really want to feel and see it, yeah, it's still on a screen. It's not always really a picture, but today the technology is strong enough to put on these goggles. Is it augmented or virtual reality? That doesn't matter even. But still, they are not doing that. And I think that's also something on the sales part that is lacking today.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is one of the very specific concepts that I see happening in the near future, is just like put on even from home or in the showroom. You should be able to literally, if you want to buy a car, let's whatever car, it's standing there, but you could put the glasses on, feel it because it's standing there, but you see it in the specifications that you want.
Yep.
In that way, you have actually, I don't know if that's 4D or whatever, but you see it, you feel it, you touch it, you can smell it.
Yeah. That's definitely 4D if you can smell it. Yeah. I think those are all things that they really can do, and that is already possible also. But yeah, they are not really. Not a lot of companies are already doing something with it.
It would be super nice, actually.
Absolutely.
Maybe I have now shared a very good idea that somebody can, somebody with a
ideas
car
are already
dealership
out
can
there.
have them.
Yeah, another cool thing also, that's also an easy example, is with Microsoft Teams, they are really now developing that you can put on the glasses or VR brill. My VR brill, sorry for my English.
That's
A
okay.
VR headset, and yeah, you can really see each other sitting on the table,
Yeah.
around the table. So that's really also a cool thing, I think.
Yeah, one of my goals is to introduce that in the podcast, to do
Okay.
podcasts over the VR.
Maybe we should talk about that in a certain experience center in the future, Bram,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I
Maybe in the coming weeks.
yeah, because I'm also starting 52 topics. That's a new show, and in the 52 topics we will really explain different technical topics in a fun way. Me and Kevin Couvreur, who's director of the Customer Experience Center of Connection. And one of the first things, by the way, is also Meta, a mesh that we will explain. But I think, yeah, there's a lot to do about that. And one of the challenges that the CEO of Microsoft gave us, and that's for the last episode, is to develop an avatar. And really an avatar for stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a few people play around with it, with using the VR for podcasting, and it's really cool. It's really cool content. I think it's new as well. It's refreshing. And I think I can see it happening in sales as well, that in the next few years, you're not pitching for a boardroom anymore. You're just sitting here at your desk, pitching for the boardroom. And they can be physically in an office, and they see you on the screen, but you're like something. I think it would be cool.
Yeah, I really believe in that future. I also think a lot of people now at home have a really fancy studio now, or a home office that they're really that has better material than at the office.
Yeah, indeed. That's one of the challenges that they noticed with hiring new salespeople or whatever, that a lot of people now grow up with good stuff. And they come to the office and they receive a Dell computer of 2019, and you're laughing. Do you recognize it?
I found it always one of the first disappointments when you arrive at a new job. Now I'm a freelancer, so I have my own material, but it was always, you're starting a new job, and then you get this crappy machine.
Yeah.
And you know that you're stuck with it forever. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you want a new one, it's like, no, this one is still some years on it.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a thing, and you have to move on, actually, and companies tend to get stuck a little bit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
If I scroll your LinkedIn page, you had quite some impressive numbers on sales. You once closed a deal of 100 million.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
How long did it take you to close a deal of 100 million?
I think it took about a year. Yeah.
Was it a corporate environment?
It depends on how you look at it. We were selling. It was a MediaMarkt deal, so we sold as a distributor to MediaMarkt. So yeah, that's from my perspective, that's B2B, but the end part is of course B2C and retail. And it really started out by the buying directors asking me at at the yearly discussion, say, yeah, Maarten, if you could advise us, what would you say that we need to do? And I was not really prepared, but I knew what they needed to do and how we could improve their bottom line and our bottom line, and what to increase the efficiency also for a lot of stakeholders. Because if you are doing IT distribution, you have a lot of customers, you have the vendors. It's a channel model, so there's a lot of things that are coming in that play. And I just gave a pitch, and a week later he called me and said, yeah, that was really interesting. Maybe we need to set up a meeting to see if we can further evaluate. Yeah, and then we really started to build a model, because it was really a complete new business model, actually. It was a completely new way of working together with them. And there was a lot of value for them, a lot of value for us. And but still, because there were so many stakeholders, imagine if you, in a deal of 100 million, there are a lot of companies in there. It's like HP, Microsoft, all the B2C brands are in that deal that you can name of. So it's maybe 30, 40 stakeholders that you all need to get aligned with what you want to do. Then, of course, you need to see the financing people and all the other people, because if you are doing a deal of 100 million euros, that really has a huge impact on the whole of the organization. At that point, Ingram Micro was doing about 300 million. So that was a huge increase. So let's say about a year. And just before we were going to sign, I actually left Ingram Micro a couple of weeks before. But the deal was closed. So and it was really successful also. It was really successful.
What's your biggest thing that you can remind of this deal? Like, what did you definitely not expect from it that you learned during that decision-making process?
Communication. I think if you're working with so many people together, you really need to communicate a lot. And I think that was maybe for me the biggest learning thing that I learned, because if you're doing a deal like that, you need to make sure that it's not only in your head, because I saw it how it needed to be, but most people didn't see it. And the wrong thing to do at that point is just to move on, but you need to make sure that everybody is following you and believes in what you want to do. So that was for me the biggest learning aspect.
Was there like a champion in the deal that was all aboard and could put the fire to the other people as well, would you say? Or like they always say about those key people in every deal, you need to make sure you have this and that. Was that the occasion?
You mean on the other side or on our side?
Yeah, on the other side.
We were already really high up in the organization. So I think everybody around the C-level team was in the deal and included. So, So that part, to be honest, that was the easy part from my perspective. Because we already, before the deal, had already the relationship with that customer. And we were already working a lot of years with them. We had a good reputation. We knew the organization. I think if you want to set something new up like that, and also in that size, trust is the basics of everything. But in a deal like that, it's even more important.
Yeah, indeed. I can imagine. Yeah, I think it's everyone's dream to close a 100 million deal. Would you recommend it to people to spend a year on a deal, one deal?
We also did other things. It was not the only thing that we did.
Oh, okay, sorry.
The time, no, the time that it took, yeah, it's not at all people. You need to meet people. It takes time. You need to meet them 2, 3 times. The challenge is also there were some vendors in the deal that we didn't have in our portfolio. For example, that's also a challenge. So we needed to onboard them. That takes also time. So it was not a deal. It was not 24 hours in one part that it took.
Yeah.
But still, it takes a lot of time because you need to
It
wait.
drags along a little bit.
Yeah,
You have to keep thinking about it.
absolutely.
Yeah. What was the company selling actually?
It was Ingram Micro, so that's it's an IT distributor. So what they sell? Yeah, computers, software, cloud solutions, data centers, but also the mouses, cables,
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
Okay. Yeah, just as a background information, because
Yeah.
we were talking about 100 million. I couldn't paint a picture in my head.
It's actually the biggest IT distributor in the world. Ingram Micro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then it's on me that I don't know them.
Yeah, no, but that's okay because that's part of the channel sales model. So they buy from vendors and they sell it to resellers of retailers, but nobody knows them.
Yeah.
But they
You know the end product.
Yeah, but they play a huge role in everything that has to do with technology.
During all those years that you started in the factory, you became a salesperson, you made a 100 million deal. What is your common driver in there that makes you feel inspired to be the best version of you and keep pushing for the next level?
Okay, interesting question again, Bram. Thank you. I think I'm really just goal orientated. I set a goal for myself in the future that I want to achieve, and I just keep going till I get there. And yes, there are drawbacks and there are moments that I think, oh no, I'm not going to make it. But just keep moving, keep your eye on the ball. And I think if you are really focused, you can always get there.
What type of goals do you set? Because sometimes people set goals that are just nearly impossible to achieve, which could also be but that it also has then the side effect of demotivating, I think, if it's too high to achieve. Do you often revisit your goals? That you think like, okay, do you set them that they are achievable in a time frame of a year or 2 years, or do you have always the higher goal of like one day?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the main thing that I do is select goals that are achievable. But still, what is achievable for me is maybe considered not achievable for other people. I can give 2 examples. Today, I'm working for Connection, also partner of the year for Microsoft. And I'm working really closely together with the whole of team to build more cloud solutions, to bring it out there. So I really have a clear goal in my mind that is also aligned with the CEO on where we want to go, on what we want to achieve. And that's really tangible, you know? You can really, you discuss it with other people. And I always want things faster than other people. I always have a lot of ideas. So that's really tangible. And that's really clear business goals. And I keep going till I get there together with that company. And for me, it's like it's my own company. Eh? It's not my company. For me, it's like my own company. If something goes wrong, I really feel bugged out. So I really feel it like that way. And then the other example is the Belgian Podcast Awards. In April, I said to some people, I want to organize the Belgian Podcast Awards, and I see it in that. And almost everybody said to me, yeah, that's not possible. And then I started building a website. I financed all of those things myself. And in June, when I launched, there was a news article, and there was a Standaard Podcast Festival also. And then people told me, yeah, Maarten, you're too late. It's impossible. The Standard is doing that. And then I started my registration stage. Every evening I was busy contacting podcasters, searching for a jury. And still people were saying to me, yeah, that's not possible. And by I think September we started the live voting. In November we had the live show. And I think it's really a big success, actually. But people always try to say that it's impossible. And maybe from the outside, if you say something like that, they say, yeah, you cannot compete with the Standard. Yeah, you cannot do that alone, etc., etc. So people always find ways to say that it's not possible. So if you ask me unattainable goals or not, yeah. If you say to me, if I say I'm going to run the marathon in 1 hour and 20 minutes, yeah, that's impossible. But there are a lot of things that are considered impossible that are actually possible.
Yeah.
I think it's a long answer, so my apologies, but okay.
No. But it's also what you set your mind to. If it's something that you already think is going to be impossible, then it's probably impossible, right?
Maybe one thing that I have that a lot of people don't have is I'm always thinking in the future. So I'm never thinking about what happened yesterday or last week or a month ago. Maybe I'm not even thinking about what is happening today. I'm always thinking about next week, next month, next year. So I'm always looking at that period of time.
Yeah, I have the same thing. But some people need an extra nudge sometimes to unlock that potential of even thinking about next year.
Yeah.
Is there a new podcast award coming for this year?
Absolutely. And it's not. There will be a big announcement very soon. So So the Podcast Awards 2022 will be going on. It will be moved a little bit to October, but our campaign will start April, May. Then we will start with the first announcements. But we really have big news also. The goals for the Belgian Podcast Awards, like building a community, becoming even bigger, bringing people together, making sure more people know what a podcast is. Those goals will really be achieved this year, even more than last year.
I'm looking forward to that one. Now I have a podcast, so I will definitely write myself up for it.
Voilà.
Awesome. To bring it back to your sales, you're currently in a role where you you do things freelance. You've moved through the process of different sales roles. If you look back to your career until now, what would you tell people about the things that you have accomplished and the things that have stuck to your mind the most? Because you're now a freelancer, so you have created, like what Peter said, you are a big shot. You have created some name for yourself. How did you come to this point?
It still doesn't feel for me to have a big name or something like that, okay? And today I work in a freelance mode, but actually I'm really working closely together with Connection. So for me, it doesn't feel like a freelancer. It feels like I'm part of the company. It feels that it's also my company. and and today I'm really more in the sales advisor role, advising customers on technology, and I'm also director for a new commercial platform that we are building to make some processes for customers easier. And I'm always looking to develop and do new things. So in the beginning of my sales career, I was always looking for new deals. It's really the hunting mode more, building customers, building relationships, looking how to be a great sales guy. And I must say, the next level is I'm becoming a sales manager. So I really wanted to build great sales teams. At a certain moment, you become sales directors. And for me, one of the most fun things to do, by the way, is building these teams. I think the success of any sales team is when you build a team that is working so closely and good together. It's such a good match that you create some magical things. It's not really magical things, but
You have the feeling it's like that.
yeah, it all goes by itself. Um, and today, I still love those things, but today I'm more looking for the new things, the new way of sales, the advisory role. I think sales is really evolving. Sales and marketing also, by the way, is evolving a lot. With all those new technologies, we are more connected than ever. And for me, I really believe that an advisory role is the way that sales in B2B is evolving. Uh, Not to be the salesy guy, but really to think with your customer and say, yeah, I think that's not a good match. I think that's will work for you. So those
More
things.
consulting approach with
Yeah,
people. Yeah, it's human to human. If you, I think B2B should change to human.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. People appreciate it even more if you tell them what's up, and even if you can't use their services, if you're open about it and like, this is not the right solution for you.
Absolutely. And I think sales and marketing are really flowing also more together. Um, I still see a lot of companies. I've also been in these companies where the sales and marketing team almost never talk to each other. Yeah, that's not working. So I really believe in companies that work so closely together, or it's the same manager. I really believe in these models.
Yeah. What does a results-oriented culture mean to you?
Oh, a result-oriented culture. I think it for me means that you have a great team with great managers that communicate a lot and that they really invest in the people. So I always believe that human motivation is based on people that know the impact that they can have. They know that they can evolve, create mastery, and they also know where the company or the team wants to move. What is the goal? And if you link that to results, you will see if you have those three parameters well in place and you have a good company culture, you have a good reputation in the market, the results will follow. And for me, you need to start with the people. And if you have that on order, then it will move from itself.
Have you? No, I wanted to say something with. Never mind. Yeah. Cool. This last question gets everyone by surprise.
Oui.
So prepare. If I could give you a billboard at the side of the road and it could have anything on it, what would you put on it and why would it say that?
Oh, that's a good question, man. So a billboard on the side of the road and I can choose whatever I want.
Yeah.
then I think I would announce the next Belgian Podcast Awards, to be honest.
A marketing thing. You would put it, and everybody chooses a quote or something.
Yeah, sorry. Goal orientated, huh? So yeah.
Yeah.
But if you want something life changing, I really have something cool here that I once got from my team, and I think it's the screen is inversed, but it's from the Wolf of Wall Street actually. And the only thing standing between you and your goal is the bullshit story you keep telling yourself why you can't achieve it. I think in movie history, that's one of the nicest things that I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, I would prefer that one on your billboard. That's super nice. Yeah, it's true. I think it's a legendary movie, of course, that I watch every now and then if I want to be reminded of what the sales hustle is like.
Yeah, but by the way, it's not only, okay, there's a lot of hustle and it's maybe not the best way of doing sales. But it does prove that still cold calling is still relevant, but I still believe in that. And it's also built on trust. They misuse the trust, but in the end, customers need to trust you. Otherwise, nothing is going to happen. Or something is happening, but you're discussing about price or other things. But everything is built on trust.
Yeah, that's true. With these words, I would like to thank you, Maarten, for joining me on The Sound of Sales.
Thank you, Bram, for having me. And I'm happy to welcome you soon in our show.